Well, good evening, resellers and wannabe resellers and voyeurs and just you other night owls. Welcome to another Garage Flip show. This is a late nighter, and I'm very happy. Wait, hang on. Let me mute this thing. All right, the perils of the live show. I'm very happy to have Jory from Good Used Goods joining me tonight. I contacted Jory about I don't know about an hour or two ago, Jory.
Yeah, about an hour or so ago, maybe two.
And he let me know that he has an early morning tomorrow morning, but he was still gracious enough to join us for a live show. So that's really awesome. And Jory, why don't you kind of move your head out the way and make some noise so they can actually see your collection behind you of video games?
So there's most of it. There's more that's hidden behind the TV, and then there's more in storage. There's more in the ottoman. There's roughly 800 games, and there's 14 consoles, and they're all hooked up and can all be played with the push of a button.
Wow, that is exactly why I contacted you, because a lot of you guys have probably seen Jory before. He's got the channel Good Used Goods, like I said, and after the show or in another tab, open a new tab, go ahead and subscribe to Jory right now while I'm saying this. And I think he's got like 116 or so subscribers. He's growing like crazy.
116. I think it's 116 now.
But he's got some really cool stuff there, like information you're not going to find elsewhere. Like today he did something on speakers. The other day he did a little thing about iOmega Zip and Jazz drives, and I think some other, what was that other drive or other disk formats you did?
The Zip drives, the Jazz drives, just the standard floppies, and then I don't know if I did the 5 1/4s in that one or not.
No, it's like an OR something.
Oh, the org drives, yeah, the 2.2 gig, the org drives, yeah.
So I mean, he's got stuff on this channel that I've never seen before, so I learn a lot every time. But go check him out. But tonight we are going to be talking about video games and buying and selling video games. And Jory, I got to ask you before we start: have you ever actually sold a game, or do you just keep them all?
So I started off only selling them and just keeping a few of my favorites and just a couple around, and then I got into collecting them because I just wanted a hobby because the cars were too expensive. And now I sell just the doubles and ones I have no interest in. And I mean, when I see them at a garage sale, I'm going to pick them up regardless of having them or not.
Yeah, me too. I don't collect, Jory. I mean, I like video games. I think they're cool and all that. And I just play a few games on Xbox One, but I don't really keep any to play around here. I do keep a couple of consoles for testing purposes.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I would say probably on average, video games, consoles, cartridges, disc, all that, probably comprise about, depending on the time of year, 25 to up to 40% of my sales. What about you?
Yeah, they're easily 25-30% of my sales, and then come Q4, they're probably beyond 50% of the sales. I send in a lot Q4. I have a lot sitting here stacked that I'll probably start sending in this September.
So you're doing mostly FBA whenever you sell the games?
Yeah, there's a few games and a few things I'll do merchant fulfilled on Amazon just because they'll sell the same day, so I'm not waiting for it to get checked in, and it's a little less fees. And still, I'm not taking photos and everything like eBay.
Right on. What's your return rate like on FBA? I mean, I've just started selling FBA myself, but I mean, do you get a lot of returns on the games? Or
no, the games I'm pretty good with. Media, I get a little bit. Board games, I get next to none. I've had the odd iPod and things returned. I'd say electronics are my biggest return. I had a book returned yesterday because they said they didn't like the way it read. It's an $11 book, so there's no point in doing anything about it.
Let's do a quick shout out here. We got this is pretty cool. I mean, it's very late at night. We've actually got, I'm showing 7 people watching,
Yeah, I got 7.
And let's see, we got Jilly Bean. We have Chicago Crown Hustler, aka Kurt. We've got Swamp Picker, which is Glenn. He's actually in my neck of the woods. I actually ran into him at a
Oh, cool.
garage sale this past Saturday, Jory. I kind of
No
snuck
way.
up on him. Yeah.
I
And
don't run into anyone. Everyone's
have
from
you
the
ever?
U.S.
You've never run into one of your subscribers yet, huh?
No, no, not yet.
He was
Chicago
actually.
Crown, my favorite video game. If I had to pick one, I don't know. That's pretty hard. Probably. Oh, I don't know.
So this is like the
I don't
desert
know. You know
island
what?
question,
Probably
right?
StarCraft on the computer, the first StarCraft. I remember
Really?
playing that a lot as a kid. Yeah, that was the first online gaming I ever did too, and it just sucked me in.
Mine would be. I'm going to answer it too, even though the question was for Jory. Um, Mine would probably be if I could take the complete Baldur's Gate series with me in a PC. That's what I would do.
That's good too.
You know, I would want all of them now. I want Baldur's Gate 1, Baldur's Gate 2, Icewind Dale, everything. Icewind Dale 2, the whole thing.
I have a Windows 98 PC I built beside me just for the old games like that. The old Baldur's Gate and the old EverQuests and Duke Nukem Doom.
Looks like we got Coney Hatch with us tonight too. Coney Hatch. That's I don't know if that's his real name or not, but that's a cool name. I like it.
Yeah, it is.
So I talked to Jory real quick before we came on air, and the video games are such a huge topic. I mean, there's so many systems, so many games, and we kind of decided to focus tonight on Nintendo 64, which I've got one right here. And the reason I thought Nintendo 64 would be a good place to start is because you can still find a fair number of Nintendo 64 games out in the wild. Like, I don't see that many. Are you seeing a lot of NES and Super NES games in your neck of the woods, Jory? I don't see that many of those.
No, and if I do, they're your common ones. You always see Duck Hunt, Mario Brothers, Mario 3, which, I mean, they'll still bring you $20 or whatever, $15. They sell quick, but other than that, I don't see any of the good ones anymore.
Yeah, me either. I mean, I don't. I'm starting to see like last year, like a year or 2 years ago, I was seeing a ton of Nintendo 64. Last year, I probably saw about half that, and this year I feel like I'm seeing about 25% of what I saw. Like 2 years ago.
Yep.
I mean, it looks like to me the supply is really dwindling on this stuff.
Well, and I find a lot of the games too on the N64, like the Zelda, the Mario, they're still playable. They still hold up to today's standards because they weren't games designed to be graphically amazing anyways. They were just sort of fun to play games. Where, there's games on the PlayStation 1 you play now and you don't really know what you're looking at anymore.
Yeah, it was kind of one of the first consoles. Would you say it was one of the first consoles to really do 3D well?
It was. Now, I was more of a PlayStation fanboy, so I got the PlayStation 1 before I got the N64. And then I remember going to a buddy's house and playing Mario Kart, and then that changed my mind on the N64. And next thing you know, I needed one.
So what is the best score you've ever had, Jory, on a Nintendo 64 game or lot of games or systems or whatever? What's your best score ever?
The best score ever, I would say, was probably 3 years ago. I picked up a complete purple N64 console with the controller, box, manual, the styrofoam insert. I got 2 Zelda games with it, the Mario game, Donkey Kong, Banjo, and Kazooie, and it was in the box. And I got it all for $80.
Banjo Kazooie. There's a Banjo
and
Tooie and a Banjo Kazooie, and Banjo Kazooie was the more expensive one, right?
Yeah, that's the first one.
Is that the one that's like $80 loose?
Yeah, just loose, and that was one of the ones I had complete in the box.
Okay, yeah, and that's one of the things I was actually thinking of, Jory, before we came on. is that like when you buy like Xbox 360 games, Xbox One games, PS2 games, PS1 games, they always have their, well, not always, but just about always have their case and their manual and everything complete because it's all together in one package, right?
Yeah, I find more complete PS1 games than I do N64. It's always the cart. I never find them complete.
Yep.
The odd ones I have complete, they're from my childhood or just really odd, rare chances you come across one.
Yep, and that's kind of the point I was getting at was that when you're looking at N64 games, even if the game kind of sucks, anytime you find an N64 game that's complete in the box with the manual, you better be buying that thing.
Oh yeah, even if it's a hockey game,
right?
A cart, just a loose hockey game card on its own, I probably won't touch, unless it's just you're buying a whole lot and it's there, and it's whatever. I'll bundle it with a console or something like that later.
But I mean, a lot of the games,
yeah, anything boxed, I'll pick up.
Yeah, I mean, because a lot of times, if you look, I don't know where you look for prices other than eBay and Amazon, but there's a site, Price Charting. Do you use that site ever?
I've gone on Price Charting too. Yeah.
If you guys look at Price Charting sometime, and you kind of go prices high to low, if you notice, a lot of the N64 games, complete in box, the price will be 3 times what it is just for the loose cartridge. It's pretty crazy.
Oh, it's unbelievable what the you can find a gray 64 and it's $45, $50. You find it in the box and it's $140, $150.
Absolutely.
You find it with the styrofoam insert manual and advertisements it came in. It's like a $225 thing. It's unbelievable.
I remember I got a Mario, I think it was a Mario Kart a couple of years ago, and at that time the loose cartridge was worth $50, but I had it complete in box, so I got 100.
Yeah, oh yeah, I believe it. Conker's Bad Fur Day is another really expensive one. I have that one complete in box.
That's the I picked one of those up earlier this year. I picked it up blind. A guy said he had a N64 controllers and 2 games, and he had to dig it out, and it was going to be $20, and I had to go back like 4 hours later. So I agreed to the deal blind. I go back, and one of the games was Conkers.
Well worth it then.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this, Jory. If I was going to try and sell you this console, and all I had was a console, what's the first thing you would do?
First thing I'd do, if I'm going to try and sell it, well, I have a parts one.
If you're going to try and buy it.
If I'm going to try and buy it, if I see just the console, I'm going to ask you if you have more kicking around.
Okay.
If you have any games to go with it, or if your kids have any games.
Right on.
And then, yeah, I see you playing with the top. I was going to say check the top for the expansion pack.
Absolutely.
And
so this is one of the first things.
Yep. Do you have one in there? Because I have one if you don't.
Boom.
Okay, yeah.
And if you see this, guys, that means that's in, oh, I guess I can pull it out. If you see this, some of the games, the Nintendo 64 games, require extra memory to play. And this is actually an expansion pack. What are these worth, Jory? About $25, $30?
Yeah, on their own, they bring $25, $30 easily. Yeah. And a lot of people never notice when they sell you the console and they forget all about that thing in there.
Yep.
Now, if there's nothing in there, it won't play any games.
Yep. It's got to have something. To play, it's got to either have the a jumper pack.
Yeah, it's basically it says jumper pack.
Yep. It's just like basically, I think it's just like loops the wires through without doing anything. Or this expansion pack. And there's a few games that require it. I think like Donkey Kong requires it.
Here, I got one of them. This Zelda game does.
Is that Majora's Mask? What is that?
Yeah, Majora's Mask.
Yep.
So that's one that won't play without that expansion pack.
Let me hit the let's hit the chat real quick. Chicago Crown Hustler says Pikachu consoles alone are averaging around 160 and up. Have you had one of those before?
No. I had a chance to buy one, and someone beat me to it. I saw it at the garage sale. I got out of the car, walked up. Someone else picked it up and bought it for I think $50 as I was walking up to it.
I bought one off of Facebook about a year and a half ago for 50. They weren't priced, of course, quite as high as they are now, but I gotta say that Pikachu N64 console, to me, it's one of the most beautiful consoles.
It is pretty cool looking. Yeah, they have little Pokemon balls as the buttons, and they have the big Pikachu on the side. Yep.
And then he says in the box around 600. I don't even know where you'd find something like that.
I've never come across one in the box. I've seen them on eBay in the box, and we have 4 video game stores for a town of about 400,000 people.
And we've got Kelly in the chat. She's saying hi, Lonnie and Jory. Hi, Kelly. How you doing tonight?
Hello, Kelly. And I see Chicago crowd repairing N64s. Take an air gun first and lightly try and blow at the pins and see if there's any gunk in there. Or get in there with what I do is I'll get a microfiber, fold it around a credit card or a piece of cardstock, put a tiny bit of rubbing alcohol in there, and just go in and out with the pins to try and clean them out because they'll get a little corroded, and then try it. If that doesn't work, your video chip's probably burnt out of it, and then you got to solder it, and it's not worth it. Just sell it as parts.
Jory, last time I talked to you when you were on Seth and I's show, I think you had one that was not working, didn't you? I
do. Actually, here I have a Nintendo behind me too that's not working, and it's just the pin connector. So I ordered a new $8 pin connector from China, and I'm going to put them in. They're really easy to do. I'm on the process of making a video for it. I just have to wait for the new connector to come in to finish the video.
That's awesome, man. I mean, that's on another subject, but I've done those NES pin connectors before, yep. And I hate the Chinese ones.
They don't always work as good.
They're so tight.
Yeah, they are. I'll go in there sometimes and I'll push them down with a little pin or a screwdriver before I install them to get them a little loose, or I'll use a garbage cart, like I have an old not working copy of Techno Bowl or whatever, and I'll just jam that in and out a whole bunch until it loosens up enough. You can try boiling the original pins or cleaning them up too with some alcohol or a mild acid and see if it still works. I tried it with this one and it was a no-go. So
yeah, it's such a pain. I'm at the point now where I don't even really like buying NES consoles unless they're really cheap.
The last one I got, I had it given to me for free. The guy brought it in, said, "Here, I don't know if this one works." Gave it to me and it didn't work. So I mean, it's worth it for me to spend the $8, and I like doing it, so I don't mind taking it apart and fixing it. It keeps me busy.
So I did a little bit of research, like maybe 2 or 3 minutes before the show started, and I looked to see, and this is why I thought N64 was a good spot to start, because the games are pretty valuable, and there's still a pretty good many out there, and there's not really that many games for this system.
No, there's not. No.
Do you know how many there are?
I don't. I want to say it's around 1,100. I could be wrong. No? Okay.
Way wrong.
Is it? I think PlayStation 2 is like 8,000 or something crazy like that.
No, N64 is 296. North American games. Yep.
That's not a lot at all then to learn.
No, it's not.
I guess it wasn't out for that long, for a very long run.
I think it was kind of a commercial flop when it came out. So, I mean, out of the 296, what percentage would you figure are like top shelf kind of games?
Top shelf, so like over what price? Over $50?
I wouldn't say. Well, let's set it at like over 30.
Over 30? If there's only that many games, probably a good 30-40%, because there wasn't a ton of sports games on the N64.
Right. I mean, would they have like maybe 1 or 2 Madden? Did they have 2 Maddens or just 1 Madden? I remember Madden.
They had 2 Maddens. They had a couple snowboarding ones. I think there's a Wayne Gretzky hockey. There wasn't a lot. Some of the racing ones were a little cheaper. But I mean, even their mass-produced ones, they're Mario games, which are you can come across Super Mario all the time, I find, and they sell quick for me, and I get 25 Canadian here for them all day long, $25, $30.
Another factor whenever you're buying a N64, Jory, I mean, I know you know this, but you really want to check out that joystick. Do you have a joystick handy? Because I have a console here.
Yeah, I got one right here. Give me 1 second.
But I've actually sold all my. I don't have any friggin' joysticks, which really sucks. I don't think I do anyway. I probably do in one of my piles somewhere.
Okay.
And show them what they need to look for, Jory.
So this one is a good one. If I move it, it springs back nice. It doesn't get stuck. When you look in there, inside there, I don't know if it'll pick it up. There's no powder or residue or rubs. There's no scoring on the inside, so it's not going to break. And it's nice and tight. There's no real wiggle in there. A lot of times they'll break or they'll get loose or they'll get gummed up down in here with hair and junk. So you'll go to push them back and they'll just stay stuck. If you can plug them in and test them, I'd suggest it, because I've had these where they look fine like this, and you plug it in and your character just wanders to the left slowly or wanders to the right, and there's nothing you can do. It's just something wrong down on the inside.
Yeah, and I've seen videos where people try and say it's easy to repair and this and that, and
it's a pain in the ass on these.
It doesn't look easy to me.
No, it's a pain to do it.
It's got to be the worst joystick design ever.
I think so. It's so flimsy and small. I've gone through a few of them.
And I mean, you can get good money just for the if you look at eBay, you'll see N64 controller, and they'll always say, if they're trying to get top dollar, tight stick or tight analog stick.
Yeah,
something like that. That's the Chicago Crown Hustler says the aftermarket controllers are garbage. They make a joystick repair kit that is also junk. So it sounds like he's tried to repair them before.
Yeah, I think there's a couple companies. Retrobit makes one too, and it's not very good. It's not very responsive. You're better off to just find an original Nintendo one.
Then looks like Angry Picker just showed up too. He says he likes the joystick GameCube type upgrade for those.
I've seen that. They swap, the GameCube thumbstick for the N64 one, so you have the rubber padded thumbstick instead.
Huh, I didn't know that. The GameCube controller is one of my favorites. And not everybody shares that opinion, but
I like it.
So what would you tell somebody, Jory, if they were just getting started and wanted to know just some general rules for sourcing Nintendo 64 games? I know maybe that's kind of a bad question, because you should probably try and buy all of them, right?
For the most part, yeah, I'd grab most of them. Anything Mario, anything Zelda, grab. It doesn't matter. Even Mario Tennis sells pretty good. Those are good. Like anything Mario or anything Zelda. What else would be good ones? The Banjo and Kazooies, the Raymonds. I think I have one here like that. They do pretty good.
Star Fox.
Star Fox does amazing. The Star Wars, if you can find any of the Star Wars on the N64s, like the Rogue Squadron and stuff, they do really good.
The
South Park.
You know what I've seen going way up lately is GoldenEye.
Yeah, this one right here. For anyone who doesn't know what it is.
That's it. And you see it all the time because it was one of the more popular, probably, I don't know, arguably, I would say one of the most popular games on the console.
That's, other than Mario Kart, that's the next one I remember playing the most, having 4 buddies going at it in multiplayer.
Yep.
Turok is another one to watch out for, the original Turok. It was N64 exclusive, I think.
Let's see. Kelly says, I don't know anything about the consoles or the games, but I'm just learning. I have one controller, but not a clue what it's for or how to tell to list it. Picked it up $1. Okay. I guess we
Kelly,
can
is
play.
it gray?
Yeah, we could play 20 questions here and see how many it takes to. What's the connector look like, Kelly? Is it round? Is that a good question, Jory? Is it round, flat?
And one controller, but no clue what it is or how to tell how to list it. One can, yeah, yeah. Is it like the one I was just showing? Color would help. If it's gray or like if it's black, it's probably a PlayStation or Xbox controller. How many buttons are on it? That'll tell me right away.
And then Kurt, Chicago Crown Hustler, says, where would you say you mostly source your video games? Ever visit pawn shops? I found the pawn shops near me never leave me any meat on the bone as far as their pricing. I don't ever go into pawn shops ever. Like I hear people that source there, and I just never think to go. I mean, I always source my video games either. Well, I've done a lot of sourcing on Facebook, actually, Facebook groups. Never Craigslist. Craigslist, I've always seen, or well, y'all call it Kijiji there or something like that.
Yeah, we have both here, but Kijiji's bigger, and they're always too high a price usually, and anything that's good is gone so quick. You got to basically be out there within the 20-30 minutes.
And even like whenever I see garage sales that advertise, hey, we're going to have video games, I find that's like the least likely place I'm going to buy video games.
They have all the sports games, and they know the values usually. When I find they say, we have video games, and that's usually when they want $30 for a PlayStation 1.
Either that, or if their garage sales on Saturday morning, they've got people calling them on Thursday and cutting deals before the garage sale.
Yeah.
Or people are showing up an hour early or something like that.
Showing up at 6 a.m. before they're even set up. The best deals I get for video games are at garage sales, though, when I do find them.
Kelly says, are you reading the chat here? I don't even know if I want to read
Black
this.
Black and back.
I don't even know what that means, but it doesn't sound good at all.
Black and pack. Well, if it's a PlayStation controller, it'll say PlayStation right on the front where the cord leads into. Same if it's Xbox, or there'll be a giant X logo, a big circle with an X if it's an original Xbox. If it's NES, it has 2 buttons.
It could even be if it's got a USB.
It could be a PC controller for all I know.
Could be like a Logitech or something like that.
Could be for Vectrex or something no one's heard of. I don't know. Maybe she's got something rare and cool.
So, what were we talking about, Jory, just now?
Jeez, I'm having a good night here.
Don't worry, man. We're gonna make it a quick show.
Oh, no worries.
A short show tonight.
No worries. Oh, the pawn stores and stuff.
Yeah.
I go into 3 pawn shops. There's 3 of them in my town that I check out, and they're kind of smaller, sort of 1-man, 2-man shops. They're not the big chains. The chain ones, I find they know the prices. They go by market value, and I don't get a good price. Half of them send stuff to Amazon and sell stuff on eBay. But the little mom and pop ones, like there's one I go to, it's usually just $5 a game. They don't care what kind of game it is.
I'll tell you one place that I've never bought a game ever that I've looked in quite a bit, and that is thrift stores. I
get them all the time at the Goodwill.
Really?
All the time, yeah. At our there's one I go to in London at a place called Sherwood Forest Mall, and every time I go in there, I get at least 2 or 3 video games every time.
Wow.
And then I don't know if you go to the Goodwill auctions or not. They do the shop Goodwill auctions. For the most part, on eBay, like we have the London one, and they do the eBay as well. And for the most part, that brings proper value. But when they throw video games on the shop Goodwill, they have ridiculous international shipping. So I don't have a lot of competition here in Canada because no one in the US wants to pay the shipping, and it's close enough for me. I pick it up, so I don't have to worry about the shipping. So I can be pretty competitive.
So you kind of retail arbitrage off of Goodwill from eBay to Amazon at that point?
Yeah. They have what's called the Goodwill Industries. It's the shop Goodwill, and it's like their auction.
Yeah, I've seen Goodwill's auctions before. That's where I figured all the good games are going, but I've never.
A lot of them do, but there's still the Sherwood one I go to. They miss a lot of them, or they just put a lot of them out. A lot of GameCube games they miss too. A lot of PlayStation too. the odd N64. I don't ever see NES anymore in the thrift store.
I tell you I mainly, of course, source at garage sales, especially video games. But I find the most luck is not when I just find them sitting out. I find that if I remember to ask at each and every garage sale, you have any video games? Do you have any? And then I always like to say Nintendo. I list out the systems for them to make sure they don't miss it. And I make sure I cover the handhelds and everything. And
I throw an ad out too on Kijiji and Craigslist that just says I buy video games.
really,
Contact me for prices. Yep. Some people call me and they want too much, and some people call me and they could care less. They just want it gone. It's hit and miss, but I mean, for the 10 minutes it takes for me to throw the ad up, it's not a big deal.
I haven't. I mean, I've seen those ads on Craigslist before, but I wondered how effective they were. So you're saying
I get 4 or 5 calls a week, and probably 1 or 2 of them's worth it for me to pick up the games.
So you get like a lot of games a week just from your ad on Craigslist.
Yeah. Huh. Yep.
Interesting. Krillin says we have Goodwill Weigh and Pay. Jilly Bean gets games at Goodwill all the time for $1.99. See, it seems like every time I'm in Goodwill and I look, they have like sports games or PC games, and they're always like $3.99.
See, the one I go to, they're $2 every time. I don't know how it is in the U.S., but the Goodwills here, they're not like a chain. You basically can own one. They're privately owned by each person. So you can go to the one Goodwill that I go to, and then I can drive down the block to the other one, and they charge $5 a game. And they only charge $3 for jeans, where the other Goodwill I go to is $7.29 for jeans, and they're $2 a game.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not really that well versed, mostly because I don't deal in clothes a lot. So I don't go into the thrift stores a bunch. I really probably ought to expand my sourcing a little. But I find that, like I said, I do best whenever I just ask, and then a lot of times what will happen is they'll have video games at the actual garage sale. They're just like under a table or under something, and nobody's seen them yet.
In a box mixed with DVDs or something like that. Yeah.
Yep, and they'll pull them out, and then there's the mother load. Or they'll go inside. I mean, I've even had other shoppers at the garage sale overhear me asking, and then they'll say, "Oh, are you looking for video games?" And then they'll say, "I have some," and I'll get their number, and I'll meet up with them later that day. I've had that happen. So it doesn't hurt to kind of, whenever you ask, to ask loudly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I end up leaving people my number all the time now, and networking is huge. The amount of calls I get and just people that know me now, and, hey, I found this video game stuff. You always said you're interested in Nintendo stuff, and it usually works out well. Well, like that one video, that lot of that NES and that N64 I got with all those games.
Right.
That was $50. The guy had it in his closet for years. His kids are all moved to BC. They're all 25, 30 years old. And he said, I don't know if they work. The one didn't. So he just $50 to take them all. And that was a couple Zelda games, a Mario game, a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that find. It was pretty good, man. And that's what's really good if you have like the prices of the games in your head, and you see like a box, and they're asking X amount of dollars. If you can find like 1 or 2 games that'll cover that price, and the rest will all be profit. Of course, you still want to negotiate, but it really helps you have some of those prices in your head for some of the higher value games, right?
I mean, I've even sniped the odd eBay auction too late at night. Just a big lot of video games, and I'll spot 3 or 4 that I know are worth $50, $60, $70. And just based off that, we'll bid on it just based on those 3 or 4 games. I find I got to do it at like 3, 4 in the morning when people are ending auctions around then. And the odd time I'm able to snipe a few. It's getting harder. It's getting way harder. 3 years ago, I could 3, 4 times a week snipe a good auction load off eBay. Now it's 2, 3 times a month.
And that totally makes sense, because I know, like, if I buy a like I've got a ton of postcards I need to list at some point. I don't know when I'm going to do it, but you know, when I buy stuff that that's not really in my wheelhouse knowledge wise, a lot of times I'll just kind of throw it on the table, take a picture, you know, and throw it up on eBay. And, you know, I probably, if it's outside of my area of expertise, I probably got it so cheap. I'm not really that concerned about getting top dollar or doing a whole lot of research sometimes.
Yep.
So I could totally see how that could happen. You know, somebody that doesn't know video games throws a big lot of them on eBay, doesn't even list them, right?
Yeah.
They don't even list the titles.
For examples, like there's a church thrift store here. They do it out of the basement of their church in London, but they also sell on eBay when they get big lots, and they just lot it up and they do a 7-day auction, and they start it at $15 every time, regardless of what it is. And they have people that list sometimes at night and things like that. So I mean, there's sellers on eBay that don't really know. That church doesn't know the video game prices. They lot up $400 or $500 lots sometimes of N64 games, and they just, here we go, we'll put them on eBay for auction.
I want to show you guys just to kind of get your video game juices flowing if you're not really into video games yet. Jory, I want you to go. I'm going to show you a photo, and I know you need to go pretty soon. I want to show you a photo, and I want you to give me a rundown of what you think this lot would be worth. Wait, hang on one second.
Hey, Krillin, yes, I do buy vinyl. CDs, not too much, but vinyl when I come across it, yes.
And guys, this
and books on tape.
This is the website I was talking about, price charting. I found it's pretty useful. Like if you just want to do some general research, like if you just go to Nintendo 64, and then you can order it by price high to low, and then you can get a real good rundown of what stuff is going for. It even shows you like trends, and you know, these are actual sold prices, and it shows complete in box, and then a loose price.
Good old Clay Fighter 64, yeah, that's a good one, but not for resale.
What's the best one you have on this list?
I have the Clay Fighter one. I have Worms Armageddon. I have Turok Rage War. I have Bomberman. I don't have no. I have Conker's Bad Fur Day complete in box. I have the Zelda's Majora's Mask. I don't have the not for resale one though. Actually, you know what? I lie. I might have the not for resale one.
This is what I wanted to show you guys here. This is what I was trying to pull up. That's a little too big, isn't it? This is what got me into the video game market to begin with. Let's see. I don't think you can read this. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I can see it.
So this was a box, Nintendo 64 gaming system, and the gaming system, Jory, was in the box. It had the phone.
Well, there's your $75 back right away.
5 controllers, and look, this is how stupid I was. I think I told you about this last time. I didn't want to spend the $75 because I wasn't sure it was worth it. I ended up talking the lady down to $60.
Nice, which is still unbelievable. But Mario Party 3, that's a couple $100 game now at this point. I'm pretty sure.
These
Command
games
Conquer's $40 game.
This is all complete in box. They were all complete in box. I wouldn't say they were mint boxes, but they were either they were very good to near mint boxes. And yeah, Donkey Kong 64. Look over here. Legend of Zelda, Star Fox, another Donkey Kong, Mario Kart. Here's 007. That was GoldenEye.
Rampage. That's a very rare one. That's a hard one to get. If you had that complete in box, that would have been a good one.
Yep, they were all complete with the box.
I wouldn't have questioned it. I would have just picked it up and bought it and walked away.
Well, I didn't know. You know, at the time, I just didn't know. I didn't know video games. I haven't been into them. I've been into them about 2 years, probably about a couple of months after. Would you believe that I actually became a full-time reseller before I knew anything about video games.
It's pretty good.
I know. I mean, if I would have known that from the start, I think about all the stuff I passed up those first few months.
Well, that box, there must have been. You must have had to get close to $1,000 out of all that stuff.
It was a little over 1,000.
It was a little over 1,000, yeah.
Yeah, the prices weren't quite as high then as they are now. Of course, I mean, they were still really high. You know, like I said, I was getting, I know at least 3 or 4 of them I got 80 plus.
Yep.
And then there were quite a few I was getting 50 plus. And the system I did really well on.
Yep. I have one called StarCraft 64 complete in box, and I mean, that's a $400 game.
Is it?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, if you find it complete in box, yep. If not more. I think the last cart I saw sold for about $280.
Let's see. I'm looking at the chat here. Yeah, Kurt says, "Wow, Lonnie, you must have made a killing on all that." Yeah, I made really good. And Swamp Picker's out. He's falling asleep.
I seen that.
He's got to go to work in the morning. So does Jory. So, Jory, what do you say we go ahead and pinch it off here?
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. Works for me. Well, thank you for having me on again. It was a good talk. Video games.
Yeah, man. We'll have to do another one pretty soon, right? I mean, like, we'll do another console.
Yeah, we can do another console. I mean, I have damn near every console you could think of for showing, other than some really odd ones. Used to have a couple Odysseys. I don't know if you know what those are, the old Odyssey 2s I had and things like that.
I do.
Those got sold off. It's hard to keep a collection when prices keep steadily increasing each month. You know, I look at a game, I'm like, oh, I could keep it $80. I check it a month later. I'm like, oh, God, it's $120. And 4 months later, it's $150. I can only imagine when Christmas comes. You have Earthbound. Yeah, I had Earthbound, the Angry Picker, and that's, yeah, that got sold by my mother when I was like 16. She sold it at a garage sale to someone who probably jumped up and down about that.
Oh! How old are you now, Jory?
29 now, or soon to be 29.
So that would have been 2003?
Yeah, about 03, yeah.
Yeah, eBay was around then. It might have went on eBay. You don't know.
It probably went on eBay. And then Leisure Picker, yeah, I have an Intellivision. It works. I have a VIC-20 that's hooked up and working, Commodore 64. I can probably, if you guys want to see real quick, this has a pretty long cord. Get the light. I don't know if you guys can see. That's all the consoles down there. And they all run through. The JVC switch box is a thing flashing. They all run through that. The one TV is an HD TV that does 720p, so I do the PS3 and everything on it. And then the other one's for light gun games and the Atari. And then the Commodore and stuff is way in the back corner. And then video games. And then those Ottomans then the Ottomans full of video games too.
Wow, man, that is quite the setup. That is incredible.
It's a little dark. It's kind of hard to see everything.
Let's see. Angry Picker says, "Do you have a Bally Astro Arcade?" And he stumped me. I've heard of all the systems. I haven't heard of that.
I don't have that. I have a Vectrex, if he knows what that is. That's a pretty hard one to find.
I've seen that one. Pete, the Craigslist hunter, just sold one of those not too long ago.
Yeah, they're worth a good penny. A Coleco Telestar, I have one of those too.
Did that come out before the Coleco Vision?
I have a Coleco Vision, yeah.
Was the Telstar before the Coleco Vision?
Yeah, it was before. I think the Telstar one, it's sitting in a box in storage. I'm pretty sure that's the Pong one. It just bounces back and forth. There was a good 30, 40 Pong knockoffs they made too through all sorts of different companies. Some are worth all right money too.
And then let's see. Kelly had a question. Web TV, is it worth to sell? It was my grandma's. I mean, I guess you would want to look that up on eBay. I wouldn't think so, but I've been wrong before.
Yeah, I don't know about Web TV.
Do you remember Web TV? It's like a kind of a set-top box. Plug it in.
Barely.
Plug it into your TV. I think it was pretty crappy. I don't think it was very popular. But yeah, Jory, what do you think about like PS2 for next time? Because that's one that you see a bunch, and like you said, they have so many damn games, and it's really hard to figure out what you should be buying. Because
I find PS1, PS2 though, if you know what you're looking for, you'll find easily still $80, $90, $100 games. And those are the ones at Goodwill's, thrift stores, pawn shops. They all just assume a PS2 game is a $2 game. It'll be right in there with the sports games, and I pick those up all the time.
Because I found like you see them all the time, the PS2 games, and a lot of them aren't even worth $1. You know, I mean, really,
a lot of them are, yeah. And that's what most people assume too, and that's why I can get a lot of the really good ones for cheap, because they go, I don't know, why do you want these? Yeah, sure, $10, take all these 30 games. And there's some, if it's a lot of RPGs are worth a lot of money. A lot of the PlayStation RPGs.
Yep, RPGs are pretty much across all the consoles. RPGs
I mean, across any console, yeah. Even some of the Rock Bands are worth a lot too for the PlayStation 2.
I haven't revealed it yet. I'm going to show it on my sold video tomorrow, and then I'll let you go. We could keep on going and going. But I just sold the other day. I picked up an Ultima 7. Ultima 7 Serpent something 2. I don't expect you to know what that was, because I didn't. It's like a PC game from 1988 or 89, something like that.
Well, I think did you do a video on this?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, I've seen this video, yeah.
I picked it up for 50 cents. It had the cloth map in it.
Oh, cool.
It was really sweet, man. I mean, that was back when they used to put like real instruction manuals, and they had a stack of floppies in there, and then they had the nice maps
with it or something.
Right.
Yeah.
But that sucker sold. I bought it for 50 cents, and I sold it the other day for $94.99.
That's something that's overlooked a lot. The old big box PC games,
yes,
they still bring good collectible value if they're complete with the maps and the manuals and the strategy guides, like you're saying. And there's something I see for $1 all the time. They just kind of look at you funny, like you want these old DOS games? Sure, I guess, take them. I used to get that with the Nintendos, but not anymore.
They will give those big box PC games away, and a lot of times they're not worth anything, but every now and then you'll score. So, but yeah, man, I look forward to talking some PS2 with you next time, dude.
Yeah, I got a couple very expensive PS2 things. Actually, I got one of them hanging on my wall that's worth about $1,000.
Really?
Yeah, it's a very old promo Metal Gear Solid fabric poster that you either had to work at Konami or with said couple companies that worked on the original Metal Gear Solid for the PS1. To get one of these suckers. It like rolls up like a scroll. It's pretty cool. I had my hand on it and was using it like a cane and didn't realize what it was, sitting in the thrift store looking at some other pictures. I was like, what is this thing anyways? I opened it up and I've never seen one of these. $5, I figured I'd buy it.
I just don't think I could keep something that was worth $1,000. I just don't think I could do it. I couldn't do it.
No, I'm going to list it shortly. I've only had it for like 3 weeks. I was going to make a video on it. I can show you if you want. It's right in front of me.
Okay, yeah, if you want to. Sure, I want to see it.
Interesting, I guess. This will be when I knock everything over.
And Jory, I told you we'd get 20 people. We got 21 right now.
21 now.
Yep. And I don't think that includes me and you either. I think that's 21 and me and you, and it's 11:40 here, so it's 12:40 your time. So you get to take a quick nap before you go to work in the morning.
So I'm gonna have to get the light on it. I don't know if you can see that.
I can see it, man. It's like a wall hanger. Like it's weighted with the.
Yeah, it's weighted with the things. There's the Metal Gear Solid guy in the corner, and it's the Rex. I saw 2 on eBay, and one sold for $8.90, and it had a small rip in the bottom.
That's one of those things, man, that I've been wanting to talk about pricing stuff like that. Where, I mean, that's not one of a kind, but it might as well be one of a kind, right? Like,
yeah, I don't think there's any listed right now.
Like, you can kind of name your price on something like that, right? And if whoever buys that if it's for them, for their collection, and they have a lot of money, are they going to be price sensitive on that?
No, not from a collector's standpoint. I've overpaid for things I want because I just wanted them in the game collection. I mean, that I'll probably list it for $1,000 with the best offer on eBay and just sit on it for a while. Let's see how it goes.
Whenever you do that, do you ever like list? My strategy sometimes is to go high and then not put a best offer.
I've done that before too.
And then add it later on, maybe a week or two later, I come back in.
Especially if there's a lot of watchers, I'll do that too, or I'll run a sale. If there's a
But
lot
look, man, I really appreciate you coming and talking with us tonight. It's been really cool.
Problem.
And guys that are in the chat still, thank y'all for coming out. I see we got 15 thumbs up, 22
That's awesome,
watching.
guys. Yeah.
And don't forget Jory's YouTube channel is in the description. It is Good Used Goods. Go there right now because we're signing off, and hit subscribe and check out some of his videos. They're pretty cool. So good night, Jory. Thanks again.
Good night. Thanks for having me on. Thanks everyone for watching. Have a good night.
Bye, guys.
See you later.